Hello, everyone. This is Neil Arwin Mercado, reporter for INQUIRER.net, and this is the Inside Look. Joining us here today is Department of Trade and Industry Secretary Ramon Lopez. Sir, nice to see you back on our program. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Neil. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Great
So
to be here.
there's so much to discuss. We know na itong trade and industry natin, it's one of the most affected by the coronavirus pandemic, sir. Sir, and I know that from the last time we talked, sir, that was around December, we were on the right track. The
Yeah.
cases were going down, and then suddenly around at the beginning of the year, we had another surge, and recently we had to impose a series of lockdowns ulit, sir, which for sure affected again itong ating businesses and MSMEs natin, sir. So, sir, how many businesses were affected by the recent lockdowns, at least in the NCR Plus region, if you would have those numbers?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thank you, Neil, and great to be with you again. So regarding the question, so balikan natin yung sinabi mo na we were doing fine. We were reopening the economy last year towards June, July. Nag-MECQ ng 2 weeks ng August, pero nag-resume uli yung GCQ after that second half of August. Tuloy-tuloy na yan hanggang February. And that was, I think, a good run. In other words, kahit nag-Christmas at yung mga ibang mga events na after Christmas, yung napigilan yung mga ibang, what they call that, Nazareno, Black Nazarene event ng January, yung cases natin mababa pa din. In fact, naalala ko dyan, parang 2,000 and even below 2,000 cases a day. But we can say that maganda yung naging balancing noon because while we were reopening the economy, yung mga 4,000 cases a day natin nung bandang July, August, went down to, as mentioned, below 2,000 noong towards February. So it was a good run. But nagkaroon ng ibang mga variables and ito na pumasok na yung mga new variants. Dumami rin yung masasabi nating mga non-essential activities. I would say maybe that feeling of confidence din na bumababa yung cases, marami ring medyo bumaba yung compliance sa minimum health protocol. So adding all this, medyo nagkaroon ng surge. I think that's where and when we saw again cases, talagang surge, tumaas ka agad bigla. Up to, I think the height was 15,000. No? Una, nag-3,000, yung below 2,000, nag-3, 6, mamaya 9, and then 15 na. And then, of course, fast forward to now, bumaba na ulit. But when we were having that surge, obviously, we had to declare as tighter restriction, quarantine. Kaya nag-ECQ and then followed by a gradual de-escalation to MECQ as numbers were improving. In fact, slight improvement lang ng numbers kinonvert na into MECQ for the basic reason that we wanted to open more sectors in the economy. I think we were still at about maybe 8,000, 7,000. Nag-de-escalate na instead of keeping it at ECQ. Because the escalation would allow us to open more sectors. In particular, kasi sa ECQ ang open lang mga very essential businesses. But at least including na rin dyan yung export and then the BPO. No? Naalagaan natin yun kasi mga labor intensive and export generating. So, but the others are essential. So maraming manufacturing na hindi rin naka-operate. But when nag-MECQ na, marami nang na-open in terms of manufacturing. Naging iba yung approach. Given the new variants, we were more careful this time. The principle followed is low-risk activities. So at least yung mga manufacturing, considered naman siya low-risk. Sa services, yung mga low-risk lang ang binuksan. Yung mga high-risk, hindi rin binuksan.
When you talk about low risk, high risk, sir, just for the knowledge.
Okay, high risk activities. So essentially, naging iba yung criteria or basihan ng pagpili ng sectors. High risk, yung mga may tendency na high risk activities na mga enclosed indoor operation. yan ang masabing high risk kasi we found out yung variants, the new variants highly transmissible and delikado usually yan sa mga indoor operations. So what are these? Diba? Ito yung mga restaurants indoor, the personal care services, bawal yan nung una. But the outdoor model, pinapayagan. So restaurants, al fresco, pinayagan, 50%. No? Kahit MECQ. So that's it's a different MECQ versus last year's MECQ. So ito yung personal care inallow 30%, yung restaurant na outdoor inallow din, and then eventually even indoor inallow kahit 10%. So kasi the idea is sige, balik natin yung trabaho kasi hirapan talaga yung economy. And then kahit nag-move into GCQ, if you notice, we have a different GCQ heightened restriction. May ganun pa. No? Kasi parang this is just to say that this is a different GCQ from last year or even from February na GCQ tayo. So may mga bukas ng GCQ ng February na sarado ngayon. Yung mga dati yan, yung mga even the indoor sports na even non-contact, sarado pa rin. Indoor tourist attraction, sarado pa rin. Last GCQ, bukas yung mga yan. The indoor dine-in from 10% ng MECQ inakyat to 20% lang, hindi 50% or higher. Last GCQ, nandun na tayo sa 50 to 100%. Why? Because nga of the indoor issues, the risk level. So yun yung mga ibang criteria ngayon, ibang principles that we adopted. Para bang pwede na balik natin lahat ng trabaho basta low risk. Ganun ang idea. So yung mga outdoor model, yan ang patok ngayon. I mean, mas maa-allow. Pandemic proof, ika nga. So you can go to up to 50%, later on even more. Kasi outdoor siya. So hindi kulob, hindi umiikot yung... Kasi the other factor ng new variant, yung balita na aerosol din, yung pwedeng maano sa hangin, may ikot-ikot yan sa hangin. So, pag mahina ang ventilation, kahit hindi kayo kahit kayo more than 1 meter apart, pwedeng mahawa. So, yung mga ganyang principle, kino-consider na ngayon. Kaya very, very gradual.
Ito yung sinasabi nating with heightened restriction because the GCQ now is different from the GCQ we had before. So sir, what would you tell naman doon sa mga nagsasabi na it is the reopening of the economy that we understand that we have to reopen our economy because to provide more jobs, to help support our businesses and so on. But some would say that it is the reopening of the economy that encouraged non-essential travels, non-essential activities that eventually possibly contributed to the rise, to the surge we had in earlier this year. So what would you tell those who question the reopening of the economy?
So it's not necessarily so kasi when we were reopening the economy, as mentioned, from July, August, and beyond, the cases were dropping. So it's yun dun lang the numbers will tell us. It was not in the reopening. Diba? Kasi up to February nga, you and I were not complaining na below 2,000 na and reopen the economy. So how can we blame the reopening of the economy? Diba bumaba eh? And the statistics showed that and it was really working. So ang question, so what happened after March? Kaya yung pumasok yung mga new variants principle na or at least mga occurrences na ang daming variants na pumasok, di ba? Nasa balita naman yan. And then the non-essentials. Siyempre, yung dumami na yung meetups eh. You and I, I'm sure you get invited by either family or friends. So, kumain naman tayo sa labas. Hindi na tayo nakalabas ang taon. Ganyan. So, dumami yung mga gano'n. And of course, sa community, makita rin natin ang daming hindi sumusuot ng mask or maybe nagsusuot pero hindi properly, di ba? Nakababa. So, maraming mga ganon. So, nag-loosen yung compliance na generally speaking. So, it's not in the reopening. I guess, in general na lang. So, anyway, ano na natin, we're past that. We're just telling what happened. So we can now trace that we had to do different things in a different, given a different scenario. May new variants and etc. No, may mga uh, new variants at saka ito nga yung mga non-essential na nangyayari, kaya we had to stop those. We had to focus on yung safe, low risk activities. So nandiyan na tayo. Now the question, sorry, we had to discuss this para malinaw. So now your question is on the numbers. So when we were doing the GCQ already noong February, again, background para may perspective, nung unang ECQ last year, yung mga nagsarang kumpanya umabot up to 38%, halos 40%, okay, of companies survey. Tapos continuous yung survey namin every 2 months. And yung 38% bumaba na yan, fast forward na, bumaba na yan sa 8, sa 15, sa 9, and then eventually tumagal sa 5. Nung huling basa natin noong February, bago nag-ECQ, bumaba na yan sa mga 4%.
4%.
So yun ang baseline natin ng old GCQ. Here comes ECQ. Tinuloy yung survey. Yung 4% umakyat ulit sa 16%. Hindi na 38%.
Is this just in the NCR Plus region?
NCR Plus, ha? Oh, NCR Plus. Okay, hindi ko na kinount yung mga GCQ na kasi yung and GCQ, yung iba, no? Majority MGCQ outside Metro Manila and the Bubble, the plus 4 provinces. Okay. That's ECQ. So, madali naman tandaan, 16 yon. Nung nag-MECQ, tuloy pa rin yung survey namin, ang lumabas, mga 12%. So, improve yung nagsara. From 16, naging 12 na lang. Okay. So, ngayong GCQ ongoing yung survey pa. So wala pa kami ditong bagong GCQ. And my estimate, since we are not opening all, as mentioned, dahan-dahan pa rin and low operating capacity, I would guess that yung 16 naging 12, yung 12 probably may go down to maybe 8 or 9%. Yan ang rough estimate ko, looking, being familiar with these numbers. Okay. Ayan pa rin ang pinoproject ko na close pa din. Of course, ang new benchmark yung 4% na lowest that we got. Okay, so we're about 8 to 9% pa rin na close na yun.
You're projecting that for the GCQ, we would be around 8 to 9%.
Yeah. This heightened restriction. Now, in terms of jobs, this is how maybe we can relevant how we can relate again with these numbers. During the ECQ, we counted the numbers that were closed. I mean the sectors that were closed. At yung employment basis sa labor employment survey, job survey, na nilalabas naman to every month. No? So, looking at the sector and the subsectors at ilan yung trabaho doon, ang mga nagsara na sector affected 1.5 million jobs in the NCR Plus during the ECQ. Okay. Now, pinakompute ko yung nung nag-MECQ, less 500. So, 1 million, less 500,000. So, again, those are the numbers. Yung around 1 million. Now, nung MECQ, we opened some sectors because may MECQ with opening. Yan ang tinawag na hybrid. We counted more or less yung ni-reopen yung personal care services. These are mga job intensive, labor intensive and industries. Personal care, the barber shop, salons, nail spa. 4 lang naman yung inalaw pero nandiyan maraming negosyo at trabaho dyan, SME. Plus the restaurants na 10% indoor. Of course, nabanggit na natin yung 50% outdoor, allowed na yan, even before, during the MECQ. Pero ilan lang naman yung may outdoor. So kaya talagang hindi malaking impact. But the 10% indoor allowed stores to operate. Nandiyan pa rin yung takeout, delivery, but the indoor. So the estimate, yung 1 million na regular MECQ, the estimate, it brought back about 2 to 300,000 again, jobs. So nasa 700,000 na tayo. nagpunta tayo sa GCQ now with restriction. So our estimate again, just working on percentages, improvement even on the closed enterprises, closed stores. Our projection, there will be about 200 to 300,000 jobs again that are added back. So hindi pa natin maibalik lahat yung remaining 700,000. Maybe we would have improved to maybe we're down to maybe 400,000, 500 that are still not back in the labor force.
So,
but those are the numbers.
So in short, sir, these are just projections. So in terms of the businesses that are still closed, we are projecting at around 8 to 9% are still closed. And then when it comes to employment, around 500,000 are still not able to return to their jobs. Tama, correct. 400 to 500,000. It might be too early to say, sir, but just from your observation so far, have we learned from the past, sir? I mean, we know we had another surge, and then have we learned, yung mga ini-implement natin ngayon na restrictions, are these enough to say that we have learned from the previous reopening of the economy and to avoid another surge, sir?
Yes, I think we did. That's the reason why the kind of opening we're doing is really shall we say, a very, very gradual one. As mentioned, there are still sectors left still closed. And again, even the indoor dining was not 50% and above. It's pigil na pigil, 10, 20%. So yan yung adjustment that we did. This is how I can say we learned, and therefore we're treating our moves in a new way. So lalo na ngayon, narinig ko nga na yung Indian surge na nangyayari sa India, yung problema doon, talagang grabe. We don't want that to happen here. So very careful tayo. But again, this is a balancing act. But we recognize that there's still a lot of jobs, people without jobs na kaya gusto natin ibalik unti-unti, dahan-dahan. And tiyempo naman, bakit ang Singapore and Taiwan biglang nag-lockdown ngayon? No? Yun yung mga balita as of today and yesterday. Kasi sinasabi nila, bakit yung Philippines nag-open? So again, kino-compare na naman tayo sa iba. Pag nag-lockdown tayo, reklamo yung mga tao na bakit yung iba open na. Ngayong nag-lockdown sila, kasi nag-open sila noon, nag-lockdown sila, nag-open tayo, nirereklamo pa rin tayo. Ba't daw tayo nag-open? Pag nag-lockdown, nagre-reklamo. Pag nag-open, nagre-reklamo. Parang mas maganda parati yung iba. But I can say, kasi nangyari, mas naaga yung lockdown natin. Kaya nung nag-improve na yung numbers, nag-open na tayo. Sila naman, baligtad. They opened, as in totally, they allowed travel. No? Even inter-country, selected countries. So ang nangyari ngayon, tumaas yung numbers nila, biglang lockdown sen. So parang what we did a few weeks ago, they're starting to do it now in theirs. Kasi yung storya na sa kanila, ngayon sila nagkaroon ng surge. So ganun naman yun, iba-ibang timing natin. So mahirap mag-compare ng iba-ibang countries kasi depende sa surge and situation sa bawat country. But I think all these countries are doing their own adjustments. And of course, the future is the bright spot, the light at the end of the tunnel is the vaccine, and of course, getting herd immunity. And to me, I would add also that the medicines that are again being discovered na cure also, no? So medicines and vaccines will be the treatment that will be needed for us to really go into the new normal and continue the process of reopening, maybe in a faster way, because there is already immunity or there will be cure. It won't be severe, it won't make you die. Kasi yun ang kinaiba ng COVID, it can make you die and lose someone. So kaya mahirap na totally i-disregard yun. That is the reason why. Pero pag may cure na hindi mamamatay or may vaccine, immunity, then pwede mong ituloy-tuloy yung reopening and just still subject everyone to health protocol, mas medyo manageable yung risk. So doon tayo papunta, and hopefully we reach that. That's the reason why also we encourage everyone, kung may opportunity na po, kayo ay nasa priority at time ninyo na pagpavaccine, please get vaccinated. Kasi yan po ang makakabalik ng maraming trabaho. Pag mas maraming vaccinated, maraming immune, or at least hindi mamamatay pag nagkasakit, yan ho yung magiging sagot sa reopening ng economy. Otherwise, urong-sulong. Talagang ganyan. You will dance forward, backward, until you get vaccinated or the country gets herd immunity.
Sir, let's talk about vaccine, sir. One, isa sa mga proposal right now is vaccine pass. Even Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion, is appealing to DOH to change its stand regarding vaccine pass. Sir, for the DTI, kasi isa din ang DTI from my eyes, isa DTI sa mga concerned about this issue of vaccine passes, because it involves giving privileges to those who have already received the vaccine, privileges in terms of them going out, eating in restaurants, sir. So what is your stand regarding vaccine passes?
So first of all, I told the proponent, I told them that we cannot do it for now. First, may issue na, like if you are saying mandatory, ibig sabihin, kailangan magpa-vaccine, kundi hindi ka makapasok sa mall, sa opisina, kailangan magpa-vaccine, kung hindi ka makakain sa restaurant. Yung mga ganoon, hindi pwede yon. Hindi pwedeng mandatory. That's what I'm saying. The vaccine pass should not be made, should not function that way.
To force people to get vaccinated. It should not be used for that reason.
Correct. Na no vaccine, no entry. So yun sabi ko, hindi pwede yan mandatory. Kasi why? Dalawang issue yan. Why? Una, yung discriminatory. No? So yung anuhan tayo dyan ng constitutional rights, discrimination yan. Kasi narinig mo naman yung mga naging comment ng tao dun sa panukala, no? Na hindi nyo ginawang mandatory yung vaccine. Sabi nyo, voluntary. Tapos ngayon, sasabihin nyo, no vaccine, no entry. At saka kahit hindi natin ginawang voluntary and gano'n, may constitutional issue talaga, yung rights ng tao na binawal mo porque hindi naka-vaccine. No? So, yun yung first issue, discriminatory. Second issue is nandun pa lang tayo sa maybe 2 to 3%. Kasi ang new number, narinig ko, medyo 3 million na tayo eh. Hindi na tayo 2 million. So kung 3 million tayo as of today, so roughly 3% ang nabakunahan. Ang baba-baba yan para gawin mong policy yung no vaccine, no entry. I was telling the one interviewing me before na ngayon nga inaalaw natin yung entry eh. Wala pa namang vaccine na sa general population. Tapos biglang sasabihin, no vaccine, no entry. Parang hindi naman pwede yan. So, yun talaga. That's our position. So, yung vaccine pass, maybe kailangan pag-usapan yan pagka may herd immunity na. No? Pagka in the long run. I'm not saying no forever. Parang tingnan natin yung observe muna. And let's study also the effectiveness. I mean, talaga bang masisigurado mo na safe ka na pag na-vaccinate ka na. Generally, sinasabi, pwede ka pang mahawa pero at least hindi maging severe. So let's study it. Ayun lang ang portion na sinasabi ko before we make a policy out of that. But second point naman, and this is by no way an endorsement, but we take note, the private businesses like restaurants, example, they say, hindi mandatory, gagawin lang po namin, pwede ka magbigay ng discount doon sa mga na-vaccinate para lang ma-encourage sila na magpa-vaccinate.
For more people to get vaccinated. Because that is the point that is being used, sir. We are not pushing for a mandatory vaccine pass, but we are just pushing for a privilege. For those who have already been vaccinated.
Incentivized. But it's not government, it's private initiative, no? So yung kumpanya, they're free to do that if they want. Di ba? Kasi gusto na magbigay ng discount eh. Pero ito naman, that's the reason why we encourage nga, again, talking to our kababayans, that's the reason why kailangan magpa-vaccine na. Kasi unang-una, ang privilege is not the discount. Ang privilege talaga ay hindi ka mamamatay. Pag mag-vaccine ka, may immune ka. Yan yung number one benefit. So, ang position ng DTI, magpa-vaccine na po tayo kahit ano yung nandyan na nasa harap mo. Whether Pfizer, Sinovac, Moderna, kahit ano nandyan. Pa-vaccine ka na. Tapos, yun ang unang benefit. Hindi ka mamatay or hindi severe. Second benefit na lang yung mga iba pang i-offer ng ibang institution na maybe parang benefit na lang yan, parang senior citizen card or ano. Yan, mga benefits bigay ng mga business establishments. So doon, wala naman kaming wala naman kaming comment doon, But I mean, they have the right to offer those privileges. But if that is a way to encourage the people, dagdag benepisyo yan, talagang maganda namang magkaroon din ng mga ganon. To make it para bang exciting na may extra privilege. Baka yung iba doon makuha. No? But again, I emphasize na ang unang benepisyo yan ay para sa ating magpapabakuna. Yun nga, hindi tayo mamamatay.
So for the record, sir, you are saying, from what I'm understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, sir, for the record, what I understood is you are against mandatory vaccine pass, but you have no problems if private businesses, establishments would provide perks or benefits to those who have already been vaccinated.
Of the private business, without government endorsement, I mean, it could be their marketing, offer, part of their marketing strategy. But not for them to discriminate. Ibig sabihin, papapasukin pa rin nila yung hindi vaccinated. But they might be able to offer yung ganyan, yung maybe another 5% discount or 10%. It's up to them. We won't object. Yun lang yung...
How about this up, sir? Kasi isa sa mga nabasa kong proposal, sir, this could affect national policy actually, is yung, for instance, we are allowing 50% in the dine-in, let's say. And then ang gagawin, base dun sa nabasa kong proposal, is 30% of the 50% should be vaccinated, 20% should be for those na hindi vaccinated. What do you think of that? Because that's different. It's now affecting the national policy.
Oo. So I think yung mga ganon kailangan pag-aralan pa yan. Kasi it will affect na the policy. And that would mean in effect, consider na ni government na to use it in the policy. So that is where we will have to study that. We'll look also into the legality and also the technical inputs ng health group. Yun ang titingnan natin that there is that getting vaccinated would be a good basis for such a policy. No? So, ayan yung sinasabi kong kailangang pag-aralan, i-discuss ng technical working group ng IATF. So, yun lang. So, we reserve our comment. Wala akong comment muna dyan sa mga ganong voluntary and nagawing privilege or incentive yan. Kasi yun, narinig ko rin yung comment na yun na tataasan ang operating capacity for those vaccinated. Or yung mga bawal ngayon, like over 65 years old, bawal sila ngayon, pero pag vaccinated, allow na. So, sabi ko, it's not my call. It's the call of the health people na sila ang sasagot niyan. I mean, the committee, yung technical group na can we adapt that as a policy? Kasi that's a new health policy. Pag vaccinated, safe na talaga lumabas yung over 65. So, it's beyond the DTI's call. Ano po yan? It's a technical group and endorsed lang sa IATF. Bago maging policy yan. So, yan, pag-aralan pa yan siguro. Considering kasi nga na yung level natin ngayon, mababa pa. So tingnan muna natin yung siguro yung I guess the fairness of having such a policy and the technical basis, health basis of having such a policy. So
on my last topic, sir, ito probably isa sa mga biggest concern right now of the public. As you know, the pandemic, if there's anything that came out of the pandemic, it's nothing new, but the rise of online shopping, digital services, and so on, e-commerce. I'm very sure, sir, that you're well aware of reports of maling item yung na-deliver sa bahay, hindi dumating yung item, online scams, getting money from people through selling, and so on. How can we avoid these, sir? I mean, I understand that the companies themselves have their own policies in place to avoid this. But for the part of the DTI, how can you make sure that even with these policies imposed by these businesses, that this will not happen? Because it's still prevailing.
Okay. The issue there is, the two sides. One is yung munang issue na galing sa seller. May issue yung seller. Kasi 'di ba, you heard of other scam na ang may issue yung buyer, yung prank calls, 'di ba? So doon muna tayo sa seller. Okay, so yan yung mga unang lumabas na mga issue, and those are being addressed also by our consumer protection group. And that is the reason why also there is this bill, Internet Transaction Act, or bill, that is being deliberated, passed the Congress, the committee. I think it's in the plenary. No, it passed Congress. I think it
passed the House.
Senate na. Oo. And Senate's deliberating on it. So yan, it's really meant for consumer protection in e-commerce, in internet transaction. And doon talagang the consumers should be protected, and that there will be a power eventually na hindi pa ngayon for DTI to take down sites that are notorious, no. But our overall advice dito, kailangan i-advise din yung consumer, yung buyers, that they really have to select the buyers, the platform they're using, the platform that are considered reputable, yung may mga reviews where you can check the buyers. Kasi pagka ganon, guaranteed naman yung iyong purchases. At pag hindi, may return talaga. I do that. I mean, I buy now e-commerce online. Even in the household, yung groceries. So, good communication pa nga. Di ba? Pag may out of stock, papalitan nila. Para kang talagang nandun. And you're doing this online. Okay, so I would still encourage, but buy from reputable platforms. So yun parati advice. Kasi kung careless din yung consumer, mahirap ding matulungan. Especially sinabi mo ng in-advise na natin, huwag kayong bibili doon sa hindi nyo kakilala, like INQsides, or even I think Facebook, wala namang, it's just parang a platform lang na hindi siya talaga retail, di ba? Anybody can post and sell. So hindi mo kilala yung seller. So mahirap abulin yan. And Facebook told us they cannot run after those guys. So avoid those kinds of transaction. What we're saying, go to the platform na resellers, talaga na platform na e-commerce. Okay. So doon sa e-commerce kasi, yung platform like Shopee, Lazada, Zalora, and others, na may commitment sila to either blacklist the seller or run after the seller. They have information at least where to implement or impose yung return or exchange of the product. Okay, so pero pagka hindi doon, ay pabulin. Yun yung problema. So dito, this is where consumers will have to cooperate. Kaya yun yung sinasabi na that's the only way to avoid it. I mean, the event kasi parang buying, sabi ko nga, that's online. You know, online is like also buying brick and mortar, in the brick and mortar buying physically. Yung mga online na wala sa platform na kung sino-sino lang, parang bumili ka rin dyan sa kalye na hindi mo kilala yung nagtinda. at yung nabili mo pala defective. No? Bumili ka kasi mura. So parang ganyan, pag binalikan mo na siya, wala na siya doon. So you know the risk. So yun po yung kaya pinapaiwas natin yung ating kababayan doon para mabawasan yung ganyang problema. Pero pag bumili ka sa may pwesto or lalo na doon sa mall, alam mo pwedeng may pwedeng i-return exchange. May policy. In fact, meron pagka hindi pa rin tinanggap ng tindahan, that's the time you bring it to the DTI also kasi patatawag niya yung tindahan, patatawag ka until magkaroon ng settlement. Otherwise, pwedeng ma-blacklist pwedeng kasuhan yung retailer. So that's the reason why effective yung consumer protection in those cases na talagang you're buying from a platform or a real store. Yun. So yun po ang pero kung nasa kalye lang, mahirap. Okay? So
on the other side, sir.
On the other side, on the buyers.
Naman, sama sir, buyers.
Iba naman ang issue dyan. Ang issue dyan, yung buyer, hindi pala totoo. So number one advice naman dyan, of course, as much as possible to the retailer naman, sana mas ma-encourage yung online payment. Di ba merong mga card, credit card, PayPal, or even GCash, may payment na, bayad ka na. So protected ka na. Yun. So siyempre yung buyer naman will have to, sabi nila, naku, gusto ko makita ko muna yung produkto. Pero in cases kasi na bumibili ka naman again, reputable naman yung seller, it's a brand, it's registered, it's a known brand in the country, siyempre pwede ka na magbayad dyan advance. Hindi ka na lolokohin yan. No? So, yun yung sinasabi natin na so may mga naturally safe transaction as a buyer. Protected ka naman. So you pay in advance kasi para maiwasan yung mga prank calls and deliveries.
Kawawa sir, ang kawawa usually mga food delivery boys.
Di ba? So first solution yon na pagbayad na online kesa sa cash para mabawasan yung COD. Okay. The second solution is kailangan may traceability rin yung phone number. So, para may traceability, kung hindi postpaid, kung prepaid, hindi mo na alam kung sino yon. Kaya yung prepaid registration naman ang solution doon. So, we have written yung mga telcos and our consumer protection group is working on this also na yung SIM registration. SIM card registration. Kailangan yon either ma-legislate or magkusa yung telco. Kung hindi magkusa, voluntary SIM registration, we suggest we legislate. I think Senator Gatchalian is working on it and other senators na gusto may SIM registration. So that's the other way of assuring na protected din yung mga nagbenta from yung delivery guys, hindi mag-aabono.
I'm just curious, sir, because the solutions you mentioned rely on the platforms, at least for the issues regarding the issues encountered by the buyers, sir. So you mentioned the binablock naman nila if mayroong hindi a seller who received reports na encountered a problem, but these are dependent on platforms. Can the DTI hold the platforms accountable if tuloy-tuloy na nangyayari yung mga ganitong klaseng problema? Do these platforms have accountability from the DTI?
Yes, they can be penalized. And they can be penalized if lalo na nga sa mga, I guess I would say notorious, yung repeated recidivist na mga violations at they can be penalized. And of course, the ultimate penalty is closure or kung sa computer, kung nasa online, take down of the site. So yun ang pwedeng, but that can happen do sa new law, yung mapasa na ITA, Internet Transaction Act. May take down powers na si DTI. Sa ngayon, wala eh. Wala kaming powers sa ganun. We can only run after the platform and sabihin namin, trace natin yung seller para matulungan yung consumer.
Walang accountability, like concrete accountability, sir. Right now, our laws do not allow. Walang ganung powers sa DTI right now, sir. Like to impose a fine or put someone behind bars sa mga platforms.
No, penalty. Penalty pwede yan. Or kasi nga, or force them to yung refund. Ano naman yan? Kung defective, repair, refund ang mga pwedeng mga gawin dyan. So, o kaya i-replace. Repair, replace, refund.
If I'm watching this interview, sir, and ako, biktima ako ng, I'm watching this interview, biktima ako ng ganyan. Nabiktima ako ng online scam or like maling delivered na item, and I would like to complain sa DTI. How can I complain sa DTI?
1384. Yun yung hotline ng Consumer Protection Group or any question, consumer hotline. 1384. In your mobile, you can call center namin yon. So that can be addressed. Marami na complaints yan. Umabot na nga sa nung pandemic nga dahil dumami rin yung online registration from 1,700 to 88,000. Dumami rin yung complaints. From 1,000 to 13,000. Ganun kadami. 13,000 calls and complaints.
Ever since the pandemic, sir?
Yeah. Yung sinesettle ng DTI dyan. And many cases actually, it's not just about the product. It's really, in general, consumer complaint. So yun, minsan about the seller, naalala mo yung issue na ni-raise si Senator Gordon, yung sa mga motorsiklo na hinahatak or walang plate number. Minsan hindi DTI problem patagal na yung plaka, binili nila yung motorsiklo. So yun yung mga in-address dun no? So i-address naman yon sa agency na may cover nun. At that time, mga LTO, issues yan. Or if it's about medicines or medical products, so FDA naman. So tagatanggap si 1384. Parang no wrong door policy. Doon mo iba to, tapos ipapasolve natin sa concerned agencies.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very productive discussion, sir. Again, that is Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez. Sir, thank you so much for giving us a bit of your time and hope we can have you back again in a future episode.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. My pleasure.
Again, Neil Arwin Mercado, reporter for INQUIRER.net, and that has been your Inside Look.